Hey everyone, how are you all doing? I'm hoping you have a wonderful time, even during these weeks and months, and well, it may already be a bit longer than that, that there's so much solar activity, so to say, with high numbers of solar flares and what have you. But let's suppose, let's assume that it's all for the best, right? That it's all for the purpose of the light behind our sun in the in our solar system to get through and to meet our planet with a higher frequency, and that it bounces off this planet with a higher frequency as well, because this planet is increasing its frequency. We human beings are doing that, but also the planet itself, which is a huge body of energy, and with a energetical sun inside of it, just like us human beings, with a central heart or a galactic heart inside of us. It's all a combination of spirit being, nature being, source, whatever you would like to call it, a wholeness being, together with an embodied energy. So yeah, I'm hoping you're doing all right, and that you find inspiration in this in these challenging times. But these times are necessary for our individual and collective growth. And speaking of that, I just thought of like a small invitation to you, or it might even come across as a challenge. And that has to do with what I was talking about in a previous episode, about this matrix environment that we are living in, dominated by an intelligence that wants us to keep from remembering our source. And that has to do with the fall of awareness that these intelligences are attributing to us humans. And that comes with a challenge, because once you start to wake up to that reality, then you might start to think, okay, so what is actually source, and what is actually a script, or sort of a distortion from source? Everything less than source falls under the scope or boundaries or quarantine set by these scriptwriter energies. And that's particularly important when it comes to spirituality, because with spirituality it seems as if we are piercing through the quarantine or the hostage situation. But that's an illusion, I'm afraid, because these scriptwriters are so intelligent that they have created this, you can call it like a permitted area, where we are under the impression that we are free, that we are beyond the boundaries of that matrix. I think a rule of thumb might be that you decide for yourself where your power is, where your authority is. Do you attribute power to something outside of you, then I wouldn't be surprised that you are secretly slipping on a great banana skin put in place by the scriptwriters. Because I think your true connection to source and your true wisdom and your true intuitive intelligence always lies within. So whenever in spirituality, especially in spirituality, because that's where a lot of it masquerades as truth but is actually false light, I wouldn't be surprised if that number would be like 95 or 99%, right? 95% of spirituality might just be a matrix masquerading, presenting itself as truth. Yeah, so whatever teaching you follow, whatever guru you follow, whatever communication you think you have with other dimensions, other beings, whatever pendulum, whatever deck of cards you use, whatever wisdom, life wisdom you apply, whatever scripture you deem sacred, whatever teaching, these might all be signs that you are actually attributing power to something outside of you, right? So if you are a healer, if you are a channel, if you are a teacher, if you are a student, it doesn't matter. Be vigilant and be aware of the fact that there is a script in place and that there are script writers in place that have an immense or probably immeasurable intelligence that they use to trick you into believing you are actually with Source. And they will always do that in a way of copying and trying to simulate, because they don't have an actual source ability of creation. So what they will do is they will look at you and they will respond to you. They will look at your desires and they will respond to that with a simulation. It's all a simulation. It's always a lesser variant of truth. So here's my invitation to you, or it might sound like a challenge to you. Are you willing to drop everything? Are you willing to drop everything that you consider to be truth? Are you willing to drop everything that you consider to be source? So are you willing to drop the teachings of your teacher? Are you willing to drop the communication with your spirit guides, or with your channel, or with your specific spirit beings that you are in contact with? Are you willing to drop your tarot deck? Are you willing to drop the books that you hold dear and hold sacred? Are you willing to drop everything? And with dropping, I don't mean forever. I just want you to be, I just want you to feel in your body what your first reaction to this is. Is it one of fear, or is it one of that's ridiculous? Does it trigger something? And if it does trigger something, I wouldn't be surprised if that is a sign that you are attributing power to something outside of you. Because it could very well be that there's a higher frequency waiting for you. There's a higher frequency waiting to communicate with you. But you are preoccupied with directing all your energy towards something that is actually of a lower frequency that you are capable of communicating with. Right? So just as a test for yourself, whether to establish whether or not you have slipped over this giant banana skin and that you are actually safely within the confines of a permitted area of the quarantine, but actually you're still in quarantine. So that's the test, and I think that if it's strong enough, all the teachings and teachers and whatever it is that you attribute power to, if it's strong enough and if it's actually your frequency, it will come back to you. It won't go away. But just try it. Try to drop everything for a week or two and see what happens. And maybe something will present itself to you that's of a higher frequency, right? Something that's closer to your truth, to your inner wisdom, to your embodied wisdom, to your intuitive intelligence. To see if you can even allow yourself a higher frequency, a bigger truth, so standing even more tall, standing more straight and aligned with Source. This is our true transcendence of our 3D world into a higher dimension. This is what's truly behind that, I feel. So before you create too much information yourself about the grand awakening and about the fifth dimension and about all these things, be sure that first you are in synchronicity with Source itself before spreading false light, which is always inevitable. I no doubt will be spreading false light here to a certain extent myself. I do not claim to be fully realized. I do not claim to be 100% aware and 100% in synchronicity with Source itself. So it's inevitable that I as well am creating false light. But I feel confident that I am doing and have done and will keep on doing enough of my own homework in order to have remembered and remember myself as a Source being. I don't have any answers for you. I only have some triggers probably for you to see if we can further increase our individual and collective frequency. That's all we're doing here, right?